Information and stories about the invasion of Ukraine are flooding social media, but how do you know what you're looking at is real? It can be difficult to tell, sometimes even for the experts. So joining me now is investigative journalist Justin Ling. Justin, thanks for joining us this morning. This is such an important conversation.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the story of the ghost of Kyiv, a Ukrainian fighter pilot credited with downing 6 Russian fighter jets. I'm going to show the video that circulated, apparently showing him in action. So here it is. So this is the video, Justin, that many people may have seen. An image of the pilot was also shared by former Ukrainian President Poroshenko. What are the red flags here that you see?
I mean, first off, there's really no attribution or explanation of where this came from, right? You know, you see a watermark here from Slava AVX, some group that I'm sure nobody is familiar with. You tend to see these things circulate often from social media channels affiliated with one side or the other. I believe this came from a pro-Ukrainian Telegram channel, if I'm not mistaken. And these things tend to be shared as sort of, as much as it can be, good-natured sort of misinformation, right? Sort of propaganda in a sense, you know, something meant to kind of evoke positive emotion, something that is sort of innocuous in a sense, something that describes something that's actually happening on the ground, maybe not all that accurately, right? And that you see a ton of this happening on both sides. You tend to see a lot of videos, pictures, details, stories coming out that have no attribution, no way of double-checking, no way of confirming, and that sort of evoke the sense of national pride. And this goes both ways, and this isn't anything particularly new. This is a sort of thing that's been happening, you know, for much of the 20th century. So when you look at this, I believe this image is a few years old. These images from past conflicts, or in some cases even video games or movies, get repurposed, repackaged, and sent out in order to you know, give people something to believe in a sense, and that's what we're looking at here. It's something that is, as much as misinformation can be, sort of innocuous.
I want to bring up another example, if you don't mind, Justin. Then we have the story of Snake Island. So many people have heard about Snake Island, where this audio recording showed Ukrainian soldiers swearing at a Russian warship. Ukraine's president said the soldiers were all killed holding their ground. But on Monday, the Navy wrote on Facebook, I'm going to read here, quote, regarding the Marines and border guards who were taken captive by Russian occupiers on the island of Snake, we are very happy to learn that our brothers are alive and well. I mean, how can we prevent being misled even when the report comes from an official source?
Well, at a certain point, we have to accept that sometimes, you know, we get it wrong, or that the official channels get it wrong. When Snake Island was attacked in the early days of the war, there was Russian shelling of the island, and it was the belief of the Ukrainian military, as well as many observers, that everyone on the island died. And you know, this is a constant challenge for our profession to try and, you know, separate what actually happened with, you know, what's said to have happened. And in the days after that attack, Russian information channels, which are known to share disinformation, misinformation, were posting images and video claiming to be of the captured sailors. And a lot of folks in the media had a really tough time trying to figure out, you know, is this made up? It's been done before that Russian information channels have shared fake images of supposedly captured Ukrainians. So many of us were just trying to figure out whether or not this, in fact, was legitimate. It took some days, but the Ukrainian military finally confirmed that their sailors were in fact alive and in Russian custody. So sometimes you kind of have to keep checking in, right? You know, there are some times where new information emerges, and we're able to get a little more detail about what really happened.
I want to ask you lastly, you're currently looking into Russian-backed efforts to spread fake news online. You just sort of mentioned that. So what have you been seeing out there?
Yeah, so like I said, you know, you tend to have this sort of feel-good propaganda, the more innocuous side of misinformation. But on the vastly the other side, you tend to see this effort, and Russia has been particularly good at this effort, to create whole new narratives that are designed to weaken, in this case, Ukrainian morale, weaken Western support for Ukraine. And what you're seeing is this attempt to build these narratives that try and re-explain this invasion as something altruistic and good. So on a number of Russian disinformation channels, including some channels from Americans and Canadians. You're seeing this narrative that the reason that Russia invaded Ukraine was to destroy bioweapons facilities in Ukraine. I think probably borrowing a page from the U.S. invasion of Iraq, some 15 years ago. But you're seeing this notion spread that Russia has a secret purpose for why it's really launching this invasion, and we should always be wary of any government or any channels linked to governments telling us that there's some secret plot afoot that really explains their motives.
Yeah, check, and more check. Justin Ling, thanks for checking in with us. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.